quite a bit of housekeeping to do today. Can we just maybe inquire about Nugent Hopkins and his availability?
Yeah, he's questionable for tomorrow, and hope to get him in by this week. And Kapanen's close; he won't be playing tomorrow, possibly Saturday. And I think those are our two.
Wallman as well?
Oh, Wallman, no, he wasn't on the ice today, so he will not be playing tomorrow.
And do you have an update on Philp and Lazar?
They are at least a week. At least a week.
Thank you very much.
Kris, a lot of travel, everything for your team. The last two games, you gave up less high danger chances. Is that a positive sign for you? Your goalie's made some key saves at the same time. Maybe the first consecutive games where you've had both at the same time. Is that something to build off?
Yeah, the most important thing for any team is how well they defend and not giving up those high danger chances. And overall, early in the games, I thought we did well. In the third period, I know against Tampa, we ran out of gas. They had a strong push. We gave up a little more there. Same with Florida. After we made it 4-1, we needed some key saves, and we got them. But it's something we're stressing is defending a little bit harder, but also being able to protect the slots. So, whether the forwards or the defense, wherever the play is, we want them hard on the puck, but it's the support players, and usually that comes from our wingers, our weak side defensemen to protect the danger sites, the slots. So it's all about working in cohesion.
Have you made any significant changes to your system 5-on-5 from last year?
We have been playing the exact same systems as we did the previous 2 years. And we've talked about things, they'll work out, things will turn around. It's got to the point where, things haven't turned around now that we're 20 plus games in the season. Now we're starting to alter some things. And today we adjusted one thing, but it's hard just because we've had so much success. We've gone to Stanley Cup final twice. We didn't want to change anything. But now that we're playing like we have for as long as we have to start thinking, things aren't just going to work themselves out. We need to make some adjustments, whether that's moving guys around, our system, obviously. So now we're starting to look at making some adjustments.
You mentioned moving guys around. When Nugent Hopkins comes back, do you foresee him as a 3C or on the wing?
I think he can be both. I can think obviously there's chemistry with him and McDavid. They played a lot together, but Leon will be playing with Connor sometimes too. And if Leon's playing with Connor, then we definitely need Nuge as a centerman. But him coming back, I can see him splitting his time between being first line left wing or third line center.
After grinding through that trip, it was always going to be a tough trip. Where do you see your team? What's kind of the state of the union for your club heading forward now?
As hard as that trip was to come out 500, we're happy about it. The way we lost some of those games and it could have been better, then we're a little disappointed. But when I looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season and looked at how difficult it was going to be, with all the road games that we have, travel, and starting the season, I knew we'd be in this situation or close to it anyways. And I'd like a couple more wins, but it is what it is. And now we have to start gaining some traction, playing better hockey, and ultimately winning more games.
Do you feel you've kind of turned a corner here, and now when you get some players back, you can kind of you need to get a bit of a run here to kind of work your way back up to standing?
Absolutely. We got to start winning some more games and getting some traction and not win one, lose one, that kind of thing. We need to, start winning 3 or 4 in a row and then losing one. That kind of getting them more of that rhythm. Adding those guys that are coming back after being injured. We haven't had Wallman for very many games this year. Obviously, he's a big part of our game. Nugent Hopkins, Kapanen, they're going to help us with depth scoring or primary scoring. But again, we might be getting those guys back, and we don't know what else is going to happen. We might be losing somebody else where we're going to need other guys stepping up. But, we've got I definitely am excited to have those guys back, and we'll have more of what we expected and play a game that we want.
So you get
some time off here, and then 6 of your next 7 are at home. So you catch a little bit of a breath, you get some home games. Is this where you need or kind of want to see this thing turn around?
Absolutely. We're at the point of the season. We're heading into December. We're getting into about the third of the mark of the season, and you have the stat about if you're so many points by Thanksgiving, the chance of making the playoffs are minimal. And I know this team's been in that situation before, and they overcame it and got into the playoffs. But it puts a lot of work and a lot of stress on the team, and it's a lot of must wins, or feels like must wins. So we have to start playing better and start winning games.
Do you sense you were just against Florida, the team that had kind of burst your bubble the last 2 years. Now you're playing Dallas tonight, a team that you burst their bubble the last 2 years. Did you sense your team is a little hungrier in that game, or do you sense Dallas might have the same thing tomorrow?
I think whether we were playing hungry against Florida, but I saw it later on in that road trip on seeing the importance on games and playing harder, checking tighter. So I'm not sure if it was the opposition that we had. There was Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, those are two teams that we have a lot of respect for. But I think ultimately it was more of our players feeling they got to step it up and play with more intensity and check harder. I think it had to do more with the schedule and how the season's gone opposed to who the opposition was. I can't speak for Dallas and how they feel about playing us. But, we've had some pretty good games over the years, and there's a bit of a rivalry, and the rivalry is just because we're both pretty good teams, and we like to, measure ourselves against each other.
Kris, Connor is playing a career high in terms of average ice time. Leon's pretty close too. Was that always the plan, or what did you maybe attribute that to, that it's got to that point?
Well, a couple things with chasing so many games, so many one-goal games. I think that has a lot to do with it. And also the amount of overtime games. Like if we play the extra 5 minutes, they're playing minimal 2/3 of that, maybe 3 minutes. So that attributes to a lot of more of their ice times. The 5-on-5 time is still up because we've had so few special teams, very little power play time. So I think the minutes have been a little bit harder than have it previously in that first 60 minutes, just because it's 5-on-5 is a little bit different than power play time. So, no, the plan wasn't for them to play quite that high. Whether, the 21, 22 is, I think, optimal. And then definitely being games where they can play 24 minutes occasionally. But when it's regular deployment, I think it's hard on them, but it's also hard on the rest of the forwards.
So understanding that you obviously need to pick up wins and stuff, but this is an Olympic year. You've been to the World Cup finals, long playoff runs. You're hoping to have another one. How do you strike that balance? And is there going to have to come a point where you just have to scale the ice time back regardless of the situation?
Well, a lot of it will help with Nugent Hopkins coming back. And Nugent Hopkins, if he is our third centerman, the ice allotments, the other guys picking up certain situations, a lot easier. And, playing better hockey, that we can be up 5-1 halfway through a game, that makes it a lot easier too. But, those are things we can't always count on. But I think an important long-term with the travel, the games, condensed schedule, it is important that we're just pulling those minutes back a little bit.
And maybe is a penalty kill part of that? I mean, they've done well there, but those are some pretty taxing minutes and stuff that they've been added to their plate this year.
Yeah, they have been. It's tough because same with Evan Bouchard. Those three that I've talked about are our best penalty killers, or among our best penalty killers. And you got to balance on what's important. 5-on-5, special teams. Special teams are so important to win that battle. But how much are you compensating 5-on-5? Last handful of games, especially this road trip, last 7, we haven't had many penalty kills. But the penalty kills that we have had, they've been very minimal. I know they've been used occasional on kills. We've been using Henry Savoy a lot. Now Janmark, Pot Colson. And then, Philip and Lazar, when they were in the lineup, they were starting to take over a little more responsibilities there too. So when those guys are back from injuries, then you can reduce it. But, last probably 6 or 7 games, their penalty kill time has been pretty minimal.